almost every panel now, and I'd like to ask it for this one. So secular meaning non-religious, no religion. Can anybody here actually give me a compelling reason, if you were a man, for why you would risk getting married in modernity if you were not religious?
I gave you a few already.
Yeah, just one would be good.
Higher life expectancy, longer life expectancy.
Yeah, how much more life do you think the average man gets from being married?
You want me to like remember the details of articles?
Do you think it's a lot?
I think it's several years. I believe it was several years.
And was that compounded with how religious they were?
Couldn't say.
Well, the answer is yes. So if it's a non-religious reason, right? I'm looking for a non-religious
reason. You're saying
reason.
yes, but maybe like send the links to the studies, because I don't know that that's even the case.
Yeah, but you don't even know how much longer the life expectancy is.
Yeah, so it's something we should look at, but I know that it's a fact.
It's a fact for some men.
Just like they make more overall. They do better with health outcomes in the hospital.
We went over the reasons why they make more overall, which is that they mitigate risk, and that's why they live longer too. It's because of risk mitigation. And so
then it's a benefit.
They work longer out. No,
right, but you could argue why.
It's a trade-off, not a benefit. Trade-off.
Okay, that benefits them.
Trade-off. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that a man would rather work 15 hours more a week or sit on his ass and play video games?
I can't argue this because I don't know that.
I'm asking you.
The work time.
What do you mean? Let's just assume, we're just going to assume
hypothetically.
Let's say 10 hours. Do you think that he would prefer to work 10 additional hours of overtime a week or not have to do that so that he can take those 10 hours for some type of recreation like video games, shooting guns, hunting, fishing, hanging out with the boys and drinking, or any number of those things?
If it took years off of his life, I don't know what
years being years. You're talking about a life expectancy. You're talking about 1.3 or 1.2. It's negligible. Negligible for most men. Now, if they're heavily religious, that increases. That's true. But we're talking about secularists here. So the thing is like, here's my question. Even if I were to grant it, let's just say it was like 4 years or 5 years even, right? And you were to ask a man, okay, hey, look, you can go bust your ass for an additional, 10 or 15 hours per week. Okay, or you can spend the time doing recreation, right? And the type of recreation you do is going to be slightly more dangerous. Okay, that's what shaves off the life expectancy. That's what's so bothersome to me about your argument, is because you act like they're just like, oh, they just live longer. No, that's not how averages on life expectancy work. If you are moving towards high risk behavior, your life expectancy decreases. So it's just like the fact that they can go out and do recreational things that are slightly dangerous is going to increase the chances that they die.
Okay, but there's a lot of variables to this. Like, you can be dating somebody and not be married, and your partner still not want you to go out and do things. You might be limited to what you're allowed to do within the parameters of a relationship where you're not married.
Not on average. Here's what's going to happen on average. Here's what is happening on average. I'm literally explaining it to you, and it logically makes sense as well. You and I would agree that when you're talking about life expectancy, right, you're averaging this, right? So you're taking all of the averages of these men. Well, so here's what we find inside of these studies, okay? Especially this one you're talking about with increased longevity, health benefits, things like this, okay? If a man is working in his job for an additional 5 or 10 hours or whatever, not every job's going to be blue collar, right? They're just not. However, a lot of white collar people still do high risk activities, just like blue collar people do for recreation, because they're men. Men do higher risk activities. So if you take the time in the workplace away, and now they have more time for high risk activities, more of them will die doing recreation. Therefore, the average life expectancy decreases. That is, you say that this is a trade-off? No, not really. All it is, oh, now I can have fun, and that slightly increases my chance of dying early. Oh, no.
and being healthier. But like earlier, Brian mentioned that...
Well, no, it's not healthier.
Well, yeah, they are healthier on average as well. So it's not just that they don't die as often as that they...
Can we just reject this bullshit study?
Hang on. Healthier, first of all, no, it's not that they're healthier. It's that they have more doctor checkups. That's it. That's the only distinction.
So okay, but earlier, like, she had asked, what do men protect us from? And Brian mentioned yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't think, and I agree. I can tell you, men have been like, drive better, like, for one example, and that's valid. You don't think that it's a
more
benefit?
like they build all the roads.
Okay,
too.
but you don't think it's oh my gosh. You don't think it's a benefit that you have someone in your life to like help you take less risky behaviors, or like you don't think that it's overall a benefit?
No, not if I look at the high risk of divorce. So what I'm looking
so you're
at,
saying that
what I'm
outweighs-
looking at is the mitigation, right? I'm just looking at the risk versus mitigation from a secular standpoint.
Okay.
So I go, okay, so here's what I look
But
at.
you just asked what are any benefits?
No, what I'm asking you specifically is this:
Okay.
a compelling reason as a secularist to get married. You say, okay, it's because your life expectancy could increase. My argument to this is, yeah, not really. What's happening instead is that your recreation time is actually decreasing, and because the forms of recreation men do are dangerous, you could end up dying, and so it brings the entire average down. That's what's going on there. And then two, what about the risk of divorce, which I think far outweighs all of these? So
Well, that part is fair.
So my
But the
question
initial
again
question-
is, my initial question was a compelling reason. I'm
To get
looking for a
married.
compelling reason
That
for a
outweighs-
secularist to get married.
that like outweighs the risk of
Yeah.
divorce?
Outweighs the risk of everything else, yeah. That would be compelling.
Honestly, I don't think I would even do it. So, but there are benefits to marriage, and I don't want to discredit that.
Nobody would argue that there's benefits to marriage. I'm not arguing
Well, that's
that.
why I answered the way I did, though, because initially you just said give one reason to get
Nope,
married.
I didn't. I said give me a good, compelling reason.
Okay.
Yeah, compelling. So if when I think compelling, I think I should do this based on this reason.
Well, you could
right?
say there's like tax and financial benefits, but you could do that technically without marriage
You
too.
can. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand from the I've thought about this a million times because I'd love to tell secularists that they should get married, right? You should, but I can't give them a good reason why they should.
For
So-
love and to commit to somebody until you die.
Sure. Why do you need marriage for that?
There's a lot of you can whole life insurance thing.
You can get life insurance without being married.
Yeah, I'm
That's
power of
true.
attorney too.
Yeah. It's a commitment. It's a commitment on
You
paper.
can commit
and
to
it's also
people
a
with-
traditional.
You can
commitment.
commit to each other on paper, never get married.
Also, you can get married and then uncommit easily.
Yeah. You can break it easier than you can a cell phone contract. You can literally get out of your marriage easier than a cell phone contract.
Unless they keep filing for retrials.
So the thing is like, I'm trying to figure out what is a good, compelling reason for a person who's non-religious to get married, and I always come up with the same kind of answers, right? It's like, what about commitment? Well, you can still commit. What about children? You still have children. Like, what's the benefit to them?
Love. It's not, I guess, compelling to everybody, but I would say love.
Can't you have love without marriage?
Yeah, of course.
Or look.
Yeah.
Okay. So, not love then.
What do you mean?
I mean, you just conceded that you can have love without marriage.
Can have love without marriage? Yeah. Can have love with marriage?
Right. So, but you said should get married because love.
But yeah, for love, because you love each other and you guys want to put that on paper.
Okay.
I
As
guess.
the man says, I don't want to get married, but I still love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a compelling reason for men to get married.
What would you say? It's a compelling reason.
I don't think there is one.
I'm against marriage.
No, you're not against religious marriage.
I'm not. Yeah, I should be more precise. I don't have objections to religious marriage. I'm not getting married though.
Not even religiously? Or?
He's not religious.
I'm not religious.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Andrew's working on me. He'll get
Trying.
me. He'll get me there. Yeah, I don't see the point of marriage. I'm not going to do it. It's a bad deal for men.
Yeah, secularly, there's no purpose.
Yeah, I can't think of a single good reason. And I argue, it's pretty funny, I argue with Catholics about it all the time, right? Because they're like, well, natural law. But
I think the biggest reason is just to say that you have a husband or a wife, honestly. Like,
Or the wedding, but I don't even
Yeah.
want the wedding.
Well, no, the benefits are very compelling for secular women. They're just not very compelling for secular men. There's several reasons I could think of which are very compelling for secular women to get married. I just can't think of any for secular men to get married. Seems like a really bad deal.
Not even money?
For the
No.
man?
Yeah, for the man.
No.
There's
Maybe
plenty of
she
men who
has
do
more
that.
money.
Nope.
Then maybe do it.
Nope. What's really interesting is that even when you have a gap, that seems to flip. So that's what's interesting, right? It seems to flip. So the question becomes, what is the actual reason for a secularist to get married that is compelling? She argued some kind of basic stats, which they're interesting stats. Don't get me wrong. I thought they were pretty good too. I had tangled up with several people, and I've even utilized those stats, right? But I parse them out differently. The biggest issue is that, again, even with her stats, it comes down to the religion being kind of the bigger correlate for these things, for the life expectancy, everything else. So I just wonder.
Bob Evans, thank you for the gifted 50.
So I just wonder what the compelling reason is, and I don't think we have one, Brian.
I don't think so. I'm a little confused here, though. You said money. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, anyone can marry for money, and then
No.
What do you mean?
You mean as a reason to get married?
Yeah, it's a compelling reason for some.
She's saying that
Wait,
it would be a
what?
compelling reason for a secular man to get married if the woman was loaded.
That's if.
Yes.
But the reality is that most women, even secular women, are not prepared to take on a man like that.
Yeah, but you know what? I would make the concession here that if I were a secularist and like the woman was beautiful and a multimillionaire, right? Then yeah, I think I would marry her. Like that seems like it would be pretty compelling, unless she wanted a prenup,
But the issue is,
right?
I mean, there's a couple issues here. I mean, I think the first one, even among secular couples, typically the man is the breadwinner.
Yeah.
So while I will grant that there are men who will marry women who earn more than them, and in the event of a divorce, they would stand to benefit financially in some way. This is exceedingly rare. Women who, I mean, kind of bringing it to dating a little bit, women who are high earners typically don't want to date men who are not at their level. Women are very good at doing this.
What about
Women-
for children?
Hold on. Women are very good at their stated preference of, I only want a man who's on my level or higher. So for example, a female attorney, not going to date the fast food worker. Male attorney, he'll date an attractive, pleasant, feminine, submissive fast food worker. But so, what was your question there?
Oh,
What about
I was saying for having a child.
Yeah, but just
what
like
does that?
let-
wait,
sorry.
just explain it. What do
You
you
were
mean?
saying
have it?
something about why would a woman want to get together with a guy who was poor if she was loaded? Maybe because she's like at the end of her childbearing years and she really wants a kid and she's in love with this guy. There's plenty of cases like that.
Well,
Well-
not plenty, but maybe some. I mean, I would just be willing to kind of grant it as an outlier that if I were a secular man and for some reason some chick who was really loaded and a multimillionaire wanted to get married with no prenup, yeah, I might do it then. Right? Maybe that would be a compelling enough reason, right? But even if I grant that, that is not going to be the case for basically any secular man who exists. So the advice of them probably not getting married seems still like it's pretty sound advice. But still, I'd be willing to grant it.
My potential future brother-in-law did just marry like a super hot rich chick, and he's like not loaded.
What's he do for
So it
work?
happens. I don't know. I think he studied like some kind of liberal arts stuff. Like I don't know. I don't think he does anything right
Yeah,
now. I could be wrong.
That's cool. It happens.
But he's
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
But it ain't going to happen to many
It's
people.
not common.
No.
Just like how you're a liberal woman, and even you want a man to be a provider and protector and to pay for on the first date.
I'm independent.
Huh?
I'm an independent.
Are you
woman.
progressive?
Yes.
Maybe a little.
You're you're
Yes.
pro-choice. I'm assuming you have other
Yeah,
leftist
definitely
or
a little.
liberal.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just no party
Are
that
you voting
represents me.
Harris?
Who knows?
That's a yes.
Yeah, that's
a
it.
yes.
Totally, it's a yes. For sure.
But I mean, to, I guess, expand on my point here, Even liberal women want men to be providers and pay for first dates. So it's like, as a guy, I can't go into a first date with the expectation that she's going to pay for the entire bill. But I'm pretty sure every single one of you at this table has gone on a date with a guy, and it wasn't even a concern in your mind. You knew he was going to pay for the first date. Let me just show of hands.
I don't think that's fair.
Show of hands.
I always offer.
Have you been on, that's cool. Have you been on a singular first date?
You always offer.
Hold on.
What?
Have you,
Yeah.
show of hands, have you been on one singular first date where the guy paid the entire bill?
I can't remember.
You can't remember?
I can't remember, yeah, because
You've never been on a first date where you went to a food place
Oh
and
no,
you just...
I have. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
It's been so
All
long.
right. It's
But
been so long. All
For
right.
me, I grew up in Los Angeles, so I feel like the expectation, especially like in the community that I was growing up in, I would always bring my wallet just in case. He didn't, I wasn't going to expect it.
Right, but did they still pay?
Sometimes they didn't.
Right, but have you had the experience, like, more often than not, they would pay for the first date?
I would say about half-half.
50% of the time. If my expectation as a man was 50% of the time she had to pay for the date,
She can bow 50% of the time
I'd
when
be
you come
going.
home.
I would be leaving those dates with a lot of pissed off women. They'd laugh in my fucking face if I was like, "You're not getting this." Women would laugh in my fucking face if I was like, "Oh, you're not paying for the whole date."
I actually went on
Oh,
a date
yeah.
once where we were going to eat and then go to a movie, and I paid for my own food when we went to eat. And then afterwards, when we went to the ticket booth to purchase the tickets, he walked away. So I had to pay, and I felt very awkward, so I just did it.
Ironically, I do often pay, but this is like modern dudes, but I often do pay for both. But that's not who I want, though. So, like, it doesn't discredit his overall point.
All right. We have Realistic Heart here. It is unfortunate to be listening to so much evidence of programmed contrarians. Try to occasionally let go of your feelings and embrace the logic. W. Andrew. Yo, thank you, Realistic Heart. I appreciate your super chat.
I have to run because I thought it was like ending at 9, and
Why
I
did
have
you think that?
work. Well, because it was going to be 4 to 9. I thought we
It
were
was
starting
what?
at 4 sharp, so I actually have to run. But
You're not going to stay for the rest of the show?
well, it's been 5 hours now, right?
What's that?
It's been 5 hours, right?
What? What do you mean?
I thought we were starting at 4 sharp, so I
No,
thought
the
we were.
meet time is 4, and then we.
When are we going until?
I mean, we try to wrap around 11:30 or 12.
Lucas donated $200. Marrying this generation of women is a game of Russian roulette for a man. 80% divorces initiated by women, something like 90% of alimony paid from men to women, same percent for child support and weekend dad.
Lucas, thank you very much for the TTS. Appreciate it. I mean, I just looked at the notes we sent you. I said we aim to wrap it. For you, this has changed since, because this was sent back in March of 2024. We've since changed this. I did say we aim to wrap at 10 p.m. So I don't know where you got the 9 number. In more recent messages, I tend to say, but may go longer. But
Okay.
yeah. So, do you want to stay? I mean, I'm not going to force you. You don't have to.
I thought that it was only through 9, but I guess I'm also on the East Coast, so I didn't realize.
Okay. I mean, I didn't even get to your notes, but
Sorry, I'm sure you guys will be fine without one less linebacker with a blonde wig. So it'll be fine.
do you want to at least I can get through your notes?
I'm good. It's all right. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll get through the rest of the notes then. Let's see here.
Tortured.
Torture, yeah.